Hey, what's up? This is Sifu Kuttel, and today's a special day. I just received a package from LK Chen. I already know what it is, but I just thought I'd like to do a quick unboxing video with you and kind of show you one of the swords that I'm going to have as a future focus for videos. I am really excited about this one. This is a special sword, so let's get to it. Now, I do have my traditional Qing style gim for reference, so we will be kind of referring to that because this is something more typical to what you probably are already training with or something that you have worked with, so we can see how this measures up to what you're usually used to working with. So I have not opened this. I'm excited to do so. So let's take a look in the box and see what we got here. Now, I will leave a link in the description down below with all of the sword information and where you can find the sword on LK Chen's site, and you can order one for yourself. The way this is cutting open, I almost wonder if it's wrapped. Oh no, it's still cardboard. Okay, good. One of the last things I want to do is damage the sword or damage the scabbard when opening the box. So I always take this pretty gingerly, pretty easy when I open in the first place. But yeah, let's see. You'll have to bear with me during this. Fun fact, I used to work in shipping and receiving at a lumber yard and at a clothing apparel warehouse for a brand. So I actually, I understand a lot about what it takes to put these things into the shipping and get it going, and the risks you take when you ship. And so far, everything looks good. Shipping-wise, packing-wise, you can see they've got some nice bubble wrap. They've wrapped it a couple of times with tape. There was no damage to the cardboard box, which is good too. So far, everything looks good. We'll cut open here. The bubble wrap doesn't look damaged or poked or anything. Just going to cut the tape. Surprisingly, this sword is a little bit heavy though. I'm very interested to see the actual full weight of it. All right, so it arrived in a sword bag. This is similar to other swords that I've received. As long as they fit in a sword bag, you will receive it in a sword bag. There's some swords that are just, the guard is too wide, or it just wouldn't fit in your typical sword bag, and that's the only time I really haven't received a sword in those. But I always like it. It's a nice touch, and I found that since I don't like to have all of my swords on display in my house and I don't have a room for swords, it's not very easy to store these and keep them protected. So I do actually prefer having the sword bags. Oh man, this is gorgeous. This sword is absolutely gorgeous. This is the White Serpent Ming Dynasty Jian. Now, you can see it arrived in plastic, in the sword bag, wrapped in bubble wrap. They took care in shipping this out. So this is tip top. I have to cut this though because they tied the top of the bag, and I'm just not interested in cutting the sword. Now, I kind of mentioned it a little bit already, but this is pretty heavy. And it's not the sword itself that's really what makes this heavy. It's the scabbard, actually, that carries a lot of weight. These brass fittings, it's almost entirely wrapped in brass. We've got the base, the chape here. There's the fitting that runs along the entire top, the suspension, and it has two little holes for the 2-point suspension. And then, of course, it's got these others that wrap around the scabbard, and even along the back, it's entirely covered here. And then at the top, at the mouth of the scabbard, it's also got that. And that adds a lot of weight to this. So it's actually quite surprising. It is a little bit dirty on I guess the fabric on the scabbard, or this material that they have on it. I have to double check what it is, but it just looks like when it was packaged up, or maybe from the just some dust here and there that just kind of got concentrated on it, but it'll be easy enough to wipe off. The thing that's really special about this sword are all the unique engravings and all the decorations on this that make this a very, very beautiful and exquisite sword. So it's interesting too, because this is a Ming Dynasty sword, and it looks very much like what you would see a Qing Dynasty sword. It's not that much different in design. Pommel and the guard and the scabbard, they all look very similar. Let's open it up. The moment. Oh, that's beautiful. So the blade is not as long as some of the other LK Chen swords that I have. And it is so comfortable in the hand. It's amazing how light it is once you take it out of the scabbard. I mean, the scabbard is solid as a rock. So this is quite light, and already the balance makes it very comfortable for a lot of like the wrist circling. I am going to take the tassel. I will wrap it around my wrist for now, but typically I don't like it because, or the lanyard. Usually I don't like doing gim work or jian work with the lanyard, but man, this feels good. It feels so nice like this. I'm really very pleased with it. Of course, the blade itself is, it has the pattern weld, so that Damascus look, and the geometry of the tip is quite nice too. This is one thing I really liked about this sword when I was looking at it online, is that it comes to a nice fine point. It's not as an aggressive point as you would find with like the Flying Phoenix sword or the Chu Jian, the Magnificent Chu, but it's also not as rounded or subtle as the as you find in the other Ming swords that they have available. The handle is really nice. I like this dark wood. It's also on the double dragon, the Sui Dao. I just love the look of this dark wood with that. And it's got these beautiful inlays of the brass as well. And then the name of the sword, the White Serpent, this has to do with the creature that is engraved all over the sword. So technically it is a dragon. If you look at this close up, it has all of the features of the dragon, except for it's the amount of claws that it has. And so to distinguish this is not an imperial dragon, but this was still a very like high-ranking officer's sword, but it wasn't the emperor's sword. It does not have the 5 claws that they always talk about. So this one only has 4 claws. So it really shows that level, not the emperor, but still very high up. And man, I really like this sword so far. It really feels comfortable. I can't wait to take this out and swing it. Sharpness, it's sharp right out of the box. You definitely can cut through some stuff here. And it's actually very consistent down the entire blade. Now that's something that has been a criticism among other people. And I have noticed it on a couple of my swords too, is that the sharpness is inconsistent along the entire blade. That does happen, but typically where you need it, it's always going to be very sharp right out of the box. And usually as you get closer to the base, sometimes it's not as sharp. And that's just been on a couple of the swords that I've received from them. Wow, this is real nice. The one thing that I really like about this, and you'll see it as a departure from especially earlier swords like the Han Jian and the Chu Jian, is the guard itself. I really like that there's more of a substantial guard. Although not that much outward as compared to the guard I have on my Qing Dynasty sword. It is, it's still actually enough, and it's actually quite thick, which I like as well. But this is really comfortable, even with the rivet that they have, the flower or the blossom on it. I can feel it that it's there, but this is really soft. Like, it's very well rounded. It fits into my hand. I don't feel my fingers brushing up against any edges. This is really well done. And it's beautiful engravings. And on the pommel, another thing to point out is the double dragon motif, the twin dragons fighting for the pearl. And that's something I'll talk about in another video. But out of the box, I think this is just a beautiful sword. And I am excited to do some testing with it, to check it out, and to show you guys in videos, and especially what to expect. And you guys can see this in action with some forms. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, drop a comment down below. I'd be happy to ask. And if you have this sword and you want to mention anything else, feel free as well. Again, gorgeous sword, the White Serpent by LK Chen. I look forward to sharing more about this with you guys. I'll see you guys later.